Because this will be a great tool for all business owners exploring businesses at different stages. Cortex, our Square One programs are designed for people who are considering launching a business. So you have a business idea that your family and friends have told you, this is great, you should launch it. But we'll help you explore it and understand, is there a market for it and who is my target market? It's a 4-week program called Square One Guinea, and we also support people who have recently launched a business and need to understand business fundamentals.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vivial Lopez. I am with the Northside Economic Empowerment Center, which is also known as the NEEC that Mary referred to earlier, and we're powered by SLDC. I am the business service specialist, and we also work with business owners from startup phase of I want to start a business, but I don't know where to start or how to do it. We help you with that. And then we also work with businesses that are ready to scale up who may be looking for a brick and mortar. So we also will have business at different stages. And then if we don't have something in-house, we also work really hard to connect you with one of our community partners that may be a better fit based off of where you are in that moment with your business. Thank you.
Exciting. I'm Vanessa Greene. I work with the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, and we have a system of small business incubator buildings, and we help the entrepreneur when they're laying in their bed thinking about their idea, or they're in the basement tinkering, or in the kitchen and they've outgrown their house, but before they reach the commercial property level, we help them. We're the space in between. We provide below market rate rent for them while they're working on their businesses. And we also have a small business development counselor, Ms. Colleen Mulvihill, who helps them work inside of the business to get them up and scalable and ready for market if they're not already. And lastly, our program, we're a program that we run for about 4 to 5 years. The businesses can stay with us with all the other resources and things that Ms. Mulvihill can help them find.
Awesome. So I'm Gina Corce. I work with the Missouri Apex Accelerator, which is through the University of Missouri Extension. I also work with the SBDC with Ms. Colleen that Vanessa mentioned. So I focus mostly on government contracting. And so what that looks like for startups is figuring out, is there a government market for your product or your service so that you can kind of get educated, you know, as you grow your business, so that once you're ready and established, then you can start bidding on stuff. For established business, it looks more like one-on-one counseling and meetings to identify potential buyers, identify bids and requests for proposals, and then helping you format your submissions. So a little bit different if you're startup versus established, but all things government contracting, think Apex.
Hello, my name is Chen. Today I'm wearing my hat as the entrepreneur support ecosystem builder. My organization is Neighborhood Innovation Center. We're in South City. We run a couple of incubator programs that is it's a focus on place-based, meaning that Main Street businesses, food, retail that are not quote unquote in the venture capital world, may not be seen as scalable, but we're really passionate about place building and that tied to communities. Small business, most of the small business are place-based. We have our approach is very different. It's a learning by doing. So we don't actually have the formal, we have materials, we break it down into micro learning. So you can actually build your business as you learn. So it's a 6-month program, and then we continue to assess on the every 6 months, and it's actually you hands-on working and learning the same time. So food incubator is called Urban Eats. You can it's a well established for many place-based businesses, including some eventually launched into their own brick and mortar space. Big names, some of the big names, we're very proud. We supported them in the last few years. And the retail side is called the Wink, is a micro retail incubators. We all currently the program is run by Neighborhood Innovation Center. The places are in South City, but we are working with everyone in the ecosystems in the region.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Jansson. I'm with the Small Business Administration, the SBA. I've been in the role for about 2 months, so I've met about maybe half of you here, but anyone else or anyone I'd love to connect and see how we can, partner moving forward. What the SBA does, the SBA, I like to think of it as 4 arms, very big, very broad government organization. Access to capital is kind of our number one arm. 7A loans, 504 loans, just different types of government-backed loans for small businesses, whether you're acquiring a business or you're starting up a business or you need to renovate add land. There's different programs out there. One is the coaching through, we get a lot of questions for, hey, I want to start a business, this or that. So a lot of our partner organizations, the SBDC, Apex Accelerators, Women Business Centers, veteran-owned business centers, we kind of point them to whoever the right, resources or any of you all, we try to point them to the right resources. Contracting is next, so that'd be with Apex. The government's the largest buyer or seller of goods in the world. So, having the people there to help set up those systems so small businesses have certain percentages of government contracts are set aside for small businesses. And then the last arm is like crisis. So the only time the government will directly lend money to a small business is after there's been like a natural disaster, I think like a tornado last year. So they'll offer low interest loans for individuals or small businesses who are affected.
Awesome. Okay, so what are the most common needs that y'all hear from entrepreneurs in St. Louis about what they're looking for? And anyone can hop in and say,
Money.
yeah.
Money.
Space.
Money, space, marketing. I think, as you have seen, all of these organizations represented, we're very people-centered. And when people come to us, oftentimes they come thinking that money will solve everything. And I think all of us do a really good job in really digging deep into understanding what are your needs as a small business owner, so we can connect you with the right business and the right step at the right time.
I think also a lot of businesses, they're looking for money, but they don't even know what they would really do with it. Because it's like, I need money. I know I need money to get started, but if you ask them, okay, if you were pitching to an investor, what are you using it for? They're not able to break that down. So that's another part of that, of being able to really identify what it is that your business needs. Because when you can identify that, then it's easier for you to put a price tag on this, a price tag on that, to know when it is time for you to receive that funding, exactly what it is that you need. Another thing that I also run into is a lot of business owners need business plans. They are not familiar with business plans. They may have some, depending on their stage, they may not even have ever heard of a business plan or know that they need that. And so that's one thing too. And I think getting a business plan really helps you to kind of map out and go through your whole business idea, because you're hitting on every part of it. And that'll help you to start formulating, again, is this really a viable business? What do I really need? And then what are those resources, or who can I go to? And to me, that is part of educating yourself as a business owner, because now you're able to articulate what the needs are. If it is marketing, if it is just money or whatever, it could be mentorship. But again, being able to articulate that and knowing what your own needs are is really helpful for a business owner.
Absolutely. And then as regards to the space that your business will occupy, you want to make sure that it has what it needs inside of it. If you're a company that needs, that you're having a flower pot business or whatever, or a flower business, you need a space that has water. You need to know if they'll be charging you for the water, or if they'll be taking care of the water for you. Like at our facilities, we do all of we don't have the CAM, all of the common area maintenance stuff. When they give us their lease amount, monthly. That covers everything for them, but some spaces require that they pay electricity, they pay for water, they pay for this or that, or even parking. So you want to know how much space it is that you need, and you want to make sure that that space is affordable for your business based on, where you're starting.
One also, I'll jump in here real fast. I will say that what we've experienced is some of the warm introductions to resources and people that can help get them in front of new customers or market expansion. And that's one thing at GSL. We, on the small business growth team, we've really trying to champion and really do some of that warm outreach. I think I see Viv shaking her head. I've sent Viv quite a few, Ben as well. So, definitely kind of doing that warm introduction and connecting these small businesses with trusted partners like the folks you have on this panel to really help them drive those connections and resources. So just really that warm introduction, helping them really get into the ecosystem better.
Yeah, jump in.
Yes, most of folks come to us, like Ben says, well, you need the money to launch, or you need a space, or you need equipment. But for most of the place-based entrepreneurs who come to us, they do not realize they really just need a product. They need something to sell. And that's something that is truly people want to buy from you. So we focus on the fundamentals. The fundamentals business, no matter how large and small, you need to have product. That we call a purple cow. You need to have a product has remarkability built into it. So the market and marketplaces where so much competition, so many distractions, so many noise, some of those maybe not real noise, there's value out there. Why the world needs you? Why the world needs another food concept, another retail concept? Truly zoom into the product that really has a market. In the venture capital world, call it product market fit. But for you, it's really what is remarkable about the product you're about to sell. We help you laser focus on that and build the foundation. The next one is obviously how do you tell your story, how to do the basic marketing and sales, basic skills, build the foundation before you seek capital. So this is where the place-based, a lot of folks get themselves into trouble too early to seek capitals. You need money, yes, money. What are you going to do with it? Right? And all you deploy, you use money to chase the dead end. Is that smart? That's not smart. So we teach people how to launch a place-based business smart and lean in a way that taking all the lessons learned from all the entrepreneurs, all the organizations in the room to actually truly build that foundation before you seek money.
Yeah.
This might come up later, but just with all of the details that you talked about and the distractions that you talked about, and you guys probably see the same thing, but I see a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that are really, really good at what they do, like the skill or the work, or they have a great idea, but they get kind of bogged down with all of the extra stuff that goes along with it. So like the distractions that you referred to, or, doing revising your business plan regularly, things like that are very little but are important for running a business. That's where a lot of us can help direct you and kind of like give you some focus and give you templates and things like that. So don't feel like you're alone if you're in that space. If you have a really good idea and you're really good at the work, but you're focused on the work itself and not like running the business, that's where a lot of these people on this call can help.
All right, so we're talking about a lot of the details and what people are looking for, but what should people have ready before they contact your organizations?
Missouri Secretary of State Registration.
Okay.
They should have at least part of their business plan, or at least an executive summary. First and last month's rent. Yes, that's what they need.
Ditto
Insurance.
the business plan. Ditto to the business plan.
Okay, business plan's big one.
And insurance.
I will describe the St. Louis entrepreneurship ecosystem as a spectrum of support for new business owners. So when you're looking for support, you'll find that there are many people, especially in the early stages. So reach out to any of us. Some of us have applications that you have to fill out in order to participate in our programs. Some of us, you can just walk in and receive services. But regardless of how you enter the space, we will make sure to guide you in the right direction. For Square One Ignite, all we ask is for people to come with an idea that they're really passionate about and they're willing to explore and see if it really makes sense. For boot camp, for a 10-week program, now that they've already launched a business, what we're really looking for is, are you willing to learn and are you coachable? Because we've seen so many people fall in love with their solutions and they don't want to listen to any feedback. And as soon as you step, or try to question what they're doing, we can't help you at that point. So you have to be willing to listen to people who are experts.
I'm with John Chen about you have to have the product. You have to have the idea first. And it's better if you've already checked with your friends and family as well as potential customers. Is this a problem you have? And is my solution something you'd be willing to pay for? I mean, that's the first real step. There are only a few of us that are really good with early stage, idea stage. It's like PitchSTL and Square One and maybe Balsa. They're really there for the very early stage folks. Everybody else needs to see that you kind of understand that you have a business. And understanding that the part of your business that you like, the part that you're passionate about, that you want to work on, is what you're going to end up spending 20% of your day on. The other 80% is going to be marketing or housekeeping or back end or whatever. It's the reality of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, we work with most of the using food as examples. That's a very universal, everybody can relate to. And we as a consumer are always looking for a new place, a new product to try. It's a really a lot of things you can do before you come to join an incubator program like Urban Eats is you flash out some idea to know what product earlier I mentioned is really your hero product, is your unique one that you are also very passionate about it. You've done some basic testing, as Mary mentioned, that if you're not, we can give you a worksheet. You can actually do some basic, we call level 1, level 2 testing with your family member, friends, and parties, and just have a tasting and actually capture that data. The evidence is so important when we talk about when you start business. Everything is in your head. Is not the reality. The reality has to be manifested through evidence. And the evidence initially, before you can officially legally sell to consumers, to customers, you can do those tasting. And tasting absolutely works, right? We go to Costco and Sam's, you see the tastings are always there. Tasting definitely work, but the key is actually to truly get the input from that activity, truly capture the honest feedback and data that you can use to refine and enhance your product. Eventually, when you've done those exercises, you say, now I need to legally sell this. That's where you go pursue permit licenses. And I think sometimes the sequences really get somehow messed up, that people, the first thing they think they need to build a business is to go get a permit license. And that is actually, to me, that's not the smart way. I mean, of course, if you have a lot of capital, money, time, and spend that, there's, eventually you need it. But initially testing those, it's informally. And we work with a lot of people on the place-based side. They're really side hustles. You have a main job, you have many other things. Why are you doing on the side? Use that opportunity to do these basic foundational testing. And then you say, there's definitely a future in this. I wanted to incorporate my business. I want to go pick out the, all the other licensing permits. That's where you go. The sequences, it's actually important.
For us, I was gonna say for us, so it depends on kind of where you come in. But one thing I want to say is that we are the place that you can come in and say, I just have an idea, right? And don't know anything else from there. We're the place if you're kind of nervous and like, ooh, I'm so scared. I don't know anybody else who have a business, to come in, because one of the things that we really try to do up front is build relationships, right? And so bringing you and welcoming you basically into the community, into the ecosystem, and then helping you to walk through that process. So we will work with people from the very beginning. We have a business owner's basic class that tells you all of those just foundational things about running a business, as you said, right? Because we are good at what you're doing, but to be a business, in a legal business, then we know that some of those other things have to be done. And so we have a course on that of just sharing everything that has to be done. And sometimes some people are like, oh, that's a lot. Like, I don't want to start a business, right? And we've had that, and that's okay too. So it is a place where you can come to also explore, learn, and understand, is this really something that I want to move forward with? Is this a good fit? And then also, as again, businesses are at different levels, we're gonna make sure that you have all of those pieces, the license, the EIN and everything, you know, all of that and taken care of. We also have supportive systems through workshops to teach you how to handle your books, accounting, those type of things, because that's one that gets a lot of people, right? Because I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm taking the money in, but there's no records of anything, or they may be shabby, or that's usually a place where people fear when we're talking about really being in business, those numbers. And hopefully you'll get to a point where you have an account. But even when you do, we want you to know your numbers, right? You should still be educated on what that is, even if you have someone else that's taking care of it for you. So in a sense, I'm gonna say you don't have to really have anything, just an open mind, come in with your idea. And then also, as being said earlier, coming in with the willingness to learn and be vulnerable. I really think every entrepreneur, for us to be successful, you have to be vulnerable, because you can't do this alone. None of us do this alone. We're a team. And so you have to be willing to accept that and be able to get some feedback to help you kind of continue to grow.
And I'll jump in. I have to leave in like about a minute, so I apologize for leaving early. And thank you, Mel, for inviting me and having this great panel. Viv is 100% correct. We, you know, at Greater St. Louis Inc. on the small business team, we do help all kinds of businesses. But when it comes to that idea phase, we really work with SLDC to send them some businesses, especially in the St. Louis City area, because they have such a wide breadth of resources and one-on-one help. And you can just kind of walk in, as Viv said, and get that idea started and kind of get that foundational success for your business. And working with like John, if you have a food business, and some of the folks I have sent a few people St. Louis Partnerships Way for space and warehousing. So we have a good group here, and I appreciate you inviting me. I'm going to send my email and share my email in the chat, but Mel, feel free to share that out to the whole group. So thank you all so much for this great opportunity.
Thanks, Isaiah.
Bye.
All right, so my last question before we start asking folks here in the virtual space, if they have questions, is how do founders and small businesses know if your support organization is right for them? Yeah.
I think, you know, 'cause we're very top level, right, the SBA, so I'd say about 75% of the calls we field is, hey, I wanna start a business, or this is where I'm at in my entrepreneurial journey. So what we do is we do a lot of trying to help them figure out who the right resource is. We field a lot of calls and then try to pass them off, so, you know, give them that warm handoff. So that's something we can help with. If you're like, hey, this is where I'm at in my journey, whether you have just an idea or you have a business that's generating revenue and you're trying to expand, you're trying to grow, you're trying to acquire. Or you're at a point where you're ready for a loan and you want, you know, hey, who are the top 10 SBA lenders in the area type stuff. That's kind of from a top level where we can help direct you down to, you know, the individuals here who kind of very laser focused on specific sectors. Yeah, so that's in general, we can help kind of, you know, point you in the right direction and you know, use our relationships to hopefully give you a nice handoff, because no one likes to, you know, not get a warm handoff, but hopefully we can introduce it, you know, nicely and then send you on your way that way. So, yeah.
Go.
I'm sorry, John. So with us as well, we're a business incubator system. However, everybody that comes to our door or who I answer the phone for gets a warm welcome. And if they're not ready for space yet with their business, they get that super warm handoff to our business counselor, Colleen Mulvihill, who knows all things about getting businesses started and, you know, the resources and things like that. So we never have a no. We always have maybe not space, not ready for space just yet. Let me get you over to Colleen. She can get you going, da, 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 da. And then you come back to us for a space. But it's always a warm welcome. We're excited that you're here. You do have an idea. It's a wonderful idea. Let's just get it up and ready and rolling.
That's a good thing about St. Louis. It's like, it's a big city, so we have everyone to help, but it's small enough that we mostly know all of each other. So that's the thing about this specific city.
Yes, absolutely. One of the challenges, obviously, not just for our business owner or startup funders and business, just someone just even thinking about business is very difficult. Truly is, I'm sorry, as a part of the ecosystem, there's an effort, there's ongoing effort to make this map, the ecosystem mapping, resource mapping, to be much more clear, easy to follow. I'm involved with the Tech STL and the Startup STL part, small business innovation side. Just high level, if I may just say, it's hopefully everyone, actually all the ESOs and BSO will be listed. I joined that effort a bit late, but we are recently relaunched that. Think about the resources, think about if it's your VC, if it's a tech driven, high growth, you have a path that is very different than small business and Main Street business. I think most of us here, well, maybe Apex may or may not.
We do a little side, yeah.
Yeah, on the high growth side, there's a whole ecosystem, right? So, and that's a venture capital. We talk about the life science, bio STL. There's many Cortex and many of those existing support. But if you Main Street or side hustle, someone just starting out, the thing about that, it will have a different resource rail. Think about that. This is like a train. There's a different stops. There's a different resources available. And I know there's more and more people just want to do side hustle, right? So there's a side hustle on the side, and there will be increasingly, hopefully, more folks pursuing their creative endeavor. Just do this on the side, make money, make some revenue, enjoy, fulfill their creative side. That's stay on that lane is also actually increasingly important. The third one is money. With SBA, it's the capital. You're seeking capital, and there's obviously none of these are mutually exclusive capital. And we also deal with the business owner who need a transition. They've been in running a family business. They've been there for a while. They either need to launch, scale up to the next stage, or they need to pass this on. And that is a very different needs that will have a different resources available for that. It's all out there. The bottom line is it's all out there. It's just which part we can find it. I think our BSO, ESO, we all, like you said, we are the entry point, any of this, and we can point you to the right place.
John, can you explain what those acronyms are?
Yeah.
The BSO.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. It's a business support organizations, the BSO, and I'm sorry for the acronym. And the many of us are BSO, and I would consider my organization is an ESO, entrepreneur support organization. They're not mutually exclusive. Again, you want to focus your energy and time. We're very small. We focus on early stage and pre-launch and launch in a very controlled, in a low risk environment, and then you can launch on your own and grow into your next phases. So ESO is entrepreneur support organizations.
Cortex is Square One, specifically a cohort-based multi-week program. So folks have to apply for our programs and then meet with me so I can understand your needs better, make sure that our programs are a good fit for what you're needing. And if they're not, it's okay. I'll connect you with all these amazing folks. And then I will also shout out that Cortex is also a 20-acre innovation district, 200-acre innovation district, sorry. And so we have a lot of amazing programs happening within the district. So if you're interested in learning more, being around innovators, being just connecting with people, go to our website and attend many of our free events that are happening in the district. We have probably one of the most active entrepreneurship spaces. So come out, hang out with us. We really love when community comes out.
At the Northside Economic Empowerment Center, I want everyone to know that we are open to the entire city of St. Louis. And even we have business from St. Louis County. A lot of people in the past have thought that we are just for North St. Louis businesses, but we are not. We service the entire city of St. Louis, so it doesn't matter where you're located. That's one thing. And then a person or a business owner would want to probably engage with us if they are not able to commit to that cohort. If they're not able to come on a regular basis for so many months or whatever, or weeks to commit to that, then we have our program set up in more of an a la carte type of style, which works for a lot of our entrepreneurs because they're able to take courses and engage at their convenience and work around their schedule, work around, you know, their family schedule. And so we have our things scheduled at different times. Now they are structured in a way that it would kind of be introduced in a cohort style, like we would start here, this is first, this is next. But a person can literally jump in at any time at any particular workshop or topic that we have. And so for a person who needs a more flexible type of education or support, then we would probably be a good fit for you as well.
And I will say, I keep forgetting that I'm also kind of supposed to be on this panel. So I will say that what we see at libraries and who we truly can help serve the best is people who are looking for information. So when you are writing your business plan that everybody says you need to have, when you are coming up with your pitch and you need those dazzling stats to show why your business is really important, we can help you find that data. We have a lot of marketing demographic data at libraries that you can access for free with your library card that people don't always know how to use. So come ask your librarian. St. Louis County has a great librarian, Regina. St. Louis Public Library has a few librarians now that are doing this work too. So don't sleep on your local library. We love to help you find that data.
Absolutely. If I could say something to that, Mel, really quick, we have actually kind of built the library and that research component into our curriculum because that is a space where a lot of business owners skip or they just don't want to do it, right? I don't want to do this research, so, or they don't even know how to do it, right? And the key again is around education because this is not like a Google search, right? And that's what people need to understand. This is a more in-depth search. With the library, you are getting access to paid subscription types of databases that will definitely educate you on your industry. It will educate you on your ideal customer. You can find information about pricing. I mean, it is a gem and it is absolutely free. And so when we realize that a lot of people are kind of skipping that step, then I said, let's just put it in the curriculum. So when you come in the door, that is part of that basic class that we offer. And then talking about warm handoffs, I personally do a warm handoff to the person. I don't even leave it to you to say, give them a call or email. I introduce you and then the librarian will follow up and set up that appointment. But again, when we talk about building the foundation and the education and knowledge around business, that is one of those key pieces and that I think a lot of businesses are missing and may find that I don't know if I really want to do this or there's not money in this market. But again, it's about education. And so we partner with them and they are part of our curriculum. So we're really excited. And our business owners have been blown away. Like I had no idea. So it's a great resource.
I think it's also really helpful to reach out to any of the experts with the library specifics so that you don't go down the wrong rabbit hole. Like it does take a lot of time, but it's going to take a lot more time if you don't know what you're looking for or you're looking in the wrong spot or the data that you're looking at is too specific, too broad, old, you know what I mean? And so we want to help you use your time most effectively. And that's where your librarian can really come into play because they'll tell you exactly where to go.
And I feel like too, for us, sometimes we help with like emerging markets. My favorite example of this is when marijuana became legalized in the state of Missouri, but at first it was just medicinally. And everybody was like trying to get permits to do this. And I had somebody come in who was like, I want to do this, but I don't know if it's worth it. And we figured out exactly how much it was going to cost to do, you know, all of these things. And we pulled that data together and they were like, nope. Too expensive. And went on their way. So
I,
it's
I-
okay that maybe your idea isn't work for you
But that's-
right then.
yeah, but that's where we want to start, bro. Like you
Right.
said, to save a lot of time. I was also thinking, one of the phrases that I've just started using is I'm telling business owners that if you want to make sound business decisions based on facts, not feelings.
Mhm.
And oftentimes we make decisions based off of this is how I feel, or this is what I think. And so really focusing on, no, we want to make decisions on facts.
At for our Ignite program, we really lean heavily on customer discovery conversations. Because when folks come in, we find that they have a lot of assumptions about who wants to buy their product, their service, what their demographic is. But once they start actually going out and talking with people, they learn a lot about what people actually do and how they engage with the market. And so I think for those type of programming, it's a success if you find out that, yes, you want to launch or that you need to pivot. And it's absolutely okay to say, hey, this isn't the right idea. I'm gonna pause. It's a smart business decision. And I also want Mary to hop in
Yeah.
here because PitchSTL is a gem in St. Louis.
Yeah, we are. We're actually a great place to help you get all the right ducks in the pond before you put them in a row and take them out on their own way. Yeah, we like to make sure that that idea is going to fly before you spend your time and money. And I tell people, it doesn't matter if you need investors or just customers or that cute person you just asked out to say yes, you're still pitching. No matter where you go, you're pitching. So you might as well learn to do it well, and we're a really good, warm, fuzzy place to start.
Yeah, there are two basic, I mean, I don't know if this is on, now you tell me if this is on, there's a two very basic thing we all need to have as a business owner. You need to you are the best salesperson, you need to sell, you need to know how to sell, how to persuade. And then also, we know that the managing, as you wear so many hats, that the personal management, time management are the two very basic skill. And again, we can learn, and myself included, I was not born to be good at that on both, and you can learn and practice. But really, this is something you cannot replace. You cannot have. It's very difficult to send somebody else to sell your original ideas or your idea what you have as a business owner, right? So yeah, just keep working on this. And doing really matters. At the end of the day, all the knowledge, all the access to everything has come down to doing.
Yeah. All right, so I want to throw it out to you all. Do you all have any questions?
Well, that's been amazing. So my question to you, I don't know if it's different or not, but how about e-commerce, online products? If somebody wants to, is it different path or?
Not necessarily. I think all businesses start with the same premise and understanding what is the service or the product you're trying to sell, who is that target market. So you'll start off with any of our businesses. I think with e-commerce, it's a little bit more challenging because you're not having the face-to-face interaction. So being really clear about your deliverables and how you're communicating with your customers. So I mean, there's definitely challenges to it, but e-commerce businesses can definitely go through any of our programs and services.
Oh, yeah. And particularly e-commerce. One of the biggest things they forget is to value their time. They're often selling something or making something or spending time doing things. And just because they're making more than they're spending doesn't mean that they're profitable in the sense that they may be only earning 25 cents an hour. And they need to think about those things as well.
Yes, the fundamentals for e-commerce or any business is the same. You need to have a product, what a product or product mix to sell. And as you zoom into why you're doing, you ask the question why you do that, why will you discover who are your ideal customers, you still need to have that. Otherwise, nobody will discover you. Nobody will find you. They're expecting them to come to you, which would be the second part is the marketing and sales. How, you have to come up with your what's your pitch, and Mary's terminology is a pitch, is really what is your value proposition? How do you communicate? That's the second part. Third part is the money part, is the cash flow, cost control, supply chain. There's so much more, so many more. There's actually have a lot of moving parts to make this happen. And then finally is your operations. How do you wrap all this together and execute? So fundamentally, it's all the same, except that you have that built-in scalability from the early on. That is unlike the place-based. If you open a retail store, or if your artist just selling, artwork, or even a consultant just selling your time, e-commerce definitely has that benefit. But as you all know, there's a technical platforms already out there. The question is those three, the Trinity, we call it Trinity: your product, your marketing, and your cash flow, your financial management, and operation is still local. It's still you. It's come back to you. Right, so you can leverage those platforms, Shopify or Amazon, but it's just like everybody find out, those are actually very difficult to be profitable, to maintain, is because we skip the foundations, we skip the fundamentals, and even with that, there's a timing, there's a luck, just like everything else in business. Right.
All right, so Angel had a question too.
Yes. Hi, everyone. How you guys doing today? So I have a question. I hear myself. Am I on two? I think I'm on two Zoom. No.
Yes.
I keep hearing myself.
Do you want to
Well,
drop
you
it in the chat?
try to mute one.
That's what I was trying to find. Okay. All right. So I think this is better. Okay. So the first one I have is for pertaining to scaling and revenue questions, like the growth strategy for service-based businesses already generating revenue. What are the top 2 or 3 strategies you've seen consistently help scale from mid-level to high revenue without burning out?
Without burning out. I think it's without burning out.
Yes, without burning out.
I see 2 ways of going. One is to make sure you're getting more customers to pay for the more people you're hiring. And the other one is to kind of bottle your service, create a certification program so that people can license your service or go through your training to be you certified and have that as an additional source of income.
Okay. That would be that's very smart to delegate and to be able to hire more. Okay, at what point should a business owner stop being the operator and start building a team?
Oh, from the beginning. From
the
the
beginning?
very beginning. Absolutely, from the beginning. You need to be okay with the concept that there are more than one right way to do something. And you have to understand that there are skill sets that you don't have. And you need to be able to hire or work with people who do have those skill sets in order to have a really good team. Co-founder businesses have a much higher success rate than solopreneurs, and as well as avoiding burnout. But the sooner you're okay with delegating, the better leader you're going to be.
Yeah, I agree with
I will
that.
add, a lot of that starts with having really good standard operating procedures. So think through what are the things that you do on a daily basis and begin to write down those in clear steps, so that you can hand that piece of paper to somebody that you hire and say, hey, this is what I do every day. This is what I need you to do. And slowly that will help you delegate a lot of your tasks and free up your time, so you're spending less time doing the business and freeing up your time to do other things.
So that's basically what I was about to say, is do you have a systems, your systems and processes that's working, not the system process you're still trying to figure out, and that there's evidence to support that is the most efficient way how you handle function X, function Y. It's very specific. Make sure you have a documentation, you're documenting, like Ben said, and then you have your fun checklist to guide to your SOPs. They're all standardizational approach you can do. And then now with AI, you can actually document that very, very quickly and fast. She actually had a class at the Cortex not long ago. So you actually, for most business owners, you are so used to solo operating, wear so many hats, you don't have time to write it down. You don't even know, but without writing down, you simply cannot scale. You cannot hire someone to put that person, what kind of people you're hiring, right? So that's just cascading from there. So documenting your system processes. And I know really leveraging technology and digital tools digital tools not going to replace, the jury is still out in this agentic AI space of how much the agent, the AI agent can actually handle. Because AI agent will not know who you are, what you really try to do. You still need to have contacts, so you have those documentation system in place.
Okay.
Thank you guys for that. That was very helpful.
Go ahead.
It's funny that you mentioned digital tools. I actually work in business process automation, so I, do things that go to businesses and, if they have a task that takes them 10, 20 hours a week, admin stuff, like there's all kinds of tools and everything that I can, that I build automations and workflows for that. My question, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's like a perfect segue. I was already going to answer this. But my question was, for those tasks that like you were talking about, I have my own experience, but what are the ones that you've seen people spin their wheels on the most over the course of a given week? Or what are people approaching you and saying like, man, I need help with this? Or
I think it sort of depends on the industry and the type of business you are. I think people get overwhelmed with answering emails and onboarding clients is a barrier for people where they don't have a clear process for doing that and then actually working with them. That's what I can think of right now. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in.
So
Yeah, people need to understand there is no such thing as FOMO when it comes to email. And sometimes it's a question of select all and then just unselect the ones that you actually want to see and put things into a later bin. Newsletters and things. It's crazy. But if you don't get a handle on that email, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And if it's not something that you're prepared to deal with immediately.
All the good people finish last.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I actually, personal organization really is such an important foundational building block for most of us as business owner or as or executives. So someone has responsibility. And obviously vision is very important to, I suggest for me, I'm a longtime student getting things done, David Allen GTD system. If you look at all the different horizon, you obviously, what's your life mission? You can go down all the way down to the foundational, how do I get things done on a day-in, day-out basis? Because if you need to build a business, you have to spend time building. And then you cannot react and respond just to whatever comes your way, handle them as they come. And that is truly a lifelong, for me, is a lifelong practice and learning. It's really this reinforce that learning mindset. Without that beginner's mindset, you said, well, I want to do all of this, but I can't, but I only have 24 hours, so you don't have a very small team, you have very small runway, not much, you can't do much. So how do I do this? Is a so we see there are three really, I call it three ring. One is that's a personal improvement, personal learning. It's really in the center. The outside is the business learning, which talk about the marketing, product, and cash flow, all of that. And then wrapping to that the operational, because operations is challenging as well. So it's a lifelong pursuit. It's an infinite game. But if you find your true calling, if truly that's your mission, and if you also that tied to you're so good at, you happen to have a talent, and then tied to what the world needs, they're willing to pay you for it. That's it. To me, for us, is we try to help, this is my personal experience, really try to find that intersect of all these things. Then you build a business that's resilient. You're not doing this just for the money. You need the money to sustain, continue, but also make a difference, right? So it's all of this online can come together by continue learning about yourself, learning about the business, learning about the operations.
Can I add one more?
Yeah.
Getting paid. Like so many businesses leave that till the end and don't think, how am I gonna get paid? So please have your own bank account. Please accept credit cards. Please know how you're gonna send invoices and have your tax records available so that when you get hired by a large organization, you can give them your stuff and your invoice, and they can make that process easier. Because if you make it hard for me to hire you, I'm not gonna do it again. And if you make it hard for me to pay you, I'm not coming back. So please have that together.
I also like, which goes along with all of the things that we've said here so far, is that time management, your personal time versus your business time versus working in the business, on the business. And like I said, I like to tell people to set up the time blocks. I'm gonna do emails during this time of day. I'm gonna do 25 emails. That's it. I don't care if there are 700 of them. 25 are gonna get done between now and then I'm gonna go on to this. Maybe I'll do some phone calls. If you don't do that, then you're inundated with all the information. You're doing all the learning. You're doing all this. Now you got paperwork everywhere because you're trying to put out all the fires all at one time. You have to manage your time. And you also have to take time for yourself. Walk away from the business and relax and enjoy yourself so you can think about more creative ideas as well. But time management.
Absolutely, I agree. I was gonna say time management. I am amazed at how many business owners do not keep a calendar. Like they just try to remember stuff, or they write it down, right? We'll write it down, and then what do? You have to remember where you wrote it, right? That's the other part of it. And so definitely that time management piece and using the tools that are available to help you to make it easy. One small thing is like every morning when I go into the office, the first thing I do is I open my calendar.
Yes.
And I look at what is scheduled, and then I say, Siri, set me an alarm for this. Set me an alarm for 1 o'clock, titled this meeting, Siri. And I do that for my entire day because now I don't have to try to remember that I have a meeting at 1 o'clock at the library, right? And I have this appointment because now I have set that and automated it every day to remind me or to tell me it's time for this, it's time for that. So that is just a small tool that I have used, and I found that to be very helpful in the day-to-day kind of things. And to your question, another thing that I see, as you said, kind of dealing with those customers, no process for your new customers. How do we handle that? I have one of our clients who came in and she's like, she already has 400 customers. And she says, Viv, I get about 10 or 15 calls every day of people who want to be clients. And she had no idea she's like, I cannot do all of those callbacks. And so being able to have a system set up that may send them an email reply or whatever the case, whatever your systems do, but definitely having that system to engage your customers, because otherwise, if you don't get a call back, what are they gonna do? They're gonna call somebody else, right? If it takes you too long to get back to your, potential clients who are inquiring about business, they're gonna go somewhere else. So definitely having those systems in place for that client intake and how that's done.
All right, we have a question from online. So an LLC owner with an EIN running a video production company, I'm interested in pursuing grants to support growth. What's the best way to approach that? And as I scale, can you also speak to the key differences and benefits of working with a CPA versus an accountant?
Just on the government side, there are really not a ton of grants for small businesses right this moment. A lot of grants that you're gonna find are private. So through like individual charity foundations, that are focused on a specific group of people, or like a specific industry, veterans, things like that. Or some big corporations will have small business grants. But just working in the government space, and maybe Chris, you can speak to this a little bit too. There's just not a ton. I get a lot of calls about that. And there's just really not a lot of government grants. So just throwing that out there.
Well, I used to be in video production, and it's not about grants, it's about RFPs. You need to find who's looking for video. You can look among not-for-profits, you can look among corporations who's putting out a bid. There might be some money to fund documentaries, but again, you need to find the organizations that are doing that. And as I don't see there's a difference between an accountant and a CPA. There's a difference between a bookkeeper and a CPA. And one is better for bigger companies that have more financial stuff going on, like payroll and benefits and those kinds of things. A good bookkeeper can help you get a handle on what your numbers are and where the money's going and where it's coming in.
Is the question asker, are they a services-based company or are they a product-based company? If they're a product-based company, I mean, would you, either one of you be able to talk about the server program or whatever for this individual?
Yeah, if it's a startup, it just get an EIN. That means you don't have a customer yet. My first question, what are you selling? Right, so product. If it could be really zoom in and to define what you're trying to sell, that why you define that product offering, you're offering, really tied to your personal strength and your personal experience. Not try to do something that because somebody else says it was great, but really do that from your own. There must be a reason why you pursue this path. Just file the incorporation paperwork. Really focus on your past experience and what people are telling you, why they hire you, why they would love to work with you. Really zoom in. This is what that part of the finding your strength and then develop your product is built on that. And then go out to do a couple of, start recruiting, finding your first customers. Sell it to that first customers. It could be first few customers really important because without that, even you talk about brand, it's not virtually impossible because you just have an idea. You don't have an actual product. You don't have a validation, basic validation yet. Because those first few customers is where they can write your testimonial. They can give you, they can write you a letter of recommendation. These are the people actually enjoy from working with you, benefit from your new business. Not to mention they can give you really feedback, true feedback on your first few customers. We say the first 10 customers is really the most important. 5-10 customers is when you first starting. It's really hard to find any, even in a good time, it's very hard to competing with the businesses already have solid client base or fan, even better, they have a fan, right? Your goal is find the next 5 fans for your business idea. Before you pursue, try to think about, again, nothing wrong, keep your opportunity, your eyes open for grants but really build the foundational fundamentals.
I just want to respond to this question really quick. So if you are in the tech space, so advanced scientific research, there are some small business grants for that, usually not right this minute, but hopefully soon. They're called the SBIR, SPTR. So basically those are specifically for small business research and development. A lot of agencies will use them. So a lot of them are sponsored kind of by the SBA, through the SBA, specifically for small businesses. National Institutes of Health and Department of Defense are the 2 big ones that do those types of things. So if you're interested in research and development specifically, there are usually grants for that. Right this minute, there's not.
No, NSF has.
NSF, yeah.
So again,
National Science Foundation.
Yeah. But those takes so, it's a giant, very big, typically, you really, like, even if you think about that, you have to be really start working with the,
University usually.
And research institutions to get your foot in the door.
we can help you through that process, but it is a process. And then one more thing just about the CPA. If you want to work with the government, you pretty much need to have a CPA or at least familiar with what's called GAAP, GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So those are things like assets, liabilities, like your financial statements need to look a different way, annual balance sheets, things like that. And so if you get to the point when you want to work with the government, we can talk more about that specifically. But bookkeepers usually fine unless you get to that like next level.
On the funding side, I may just add to, in the region, a few of you mentioned the Balsa Foundation that has small grant. You can certainly, well, when you apply, you have to know why you're applying, what you're applying, what's your business, and then working on the basic building block. And here in St. Louis, you have an Arch grant that's also giving out the non-equity, non-diluted equity grants. But those are very competitive. That's extremely competitive. Again, you have to, the business plan, the business really the focus why you are building this. And I would also say that certainly, there's a lot of online small, I know we talk about T-Mobile, maybe Verizon, AT&T, occasionally they may have these, you can certainly, I think any one of us are probably on that list. I have not find those are very useful, but you can try, right? Just help you to extend that runway a little longer so you can get your first few customers. Finally, in Missouri, you have an MTC, if it's a technology-driven, Missouri Technology Corporations. However, their funding has been adjusted and is really going through a difficult time. But I think that for next cycle, I think for this year, they still have funding. Those are supporting tech-driven enterprises in Missouri, startup.
I wanted to just throw one last thing around the accountants. I'm thinking further down the line, you want to make sure when you're getting your taxes done, like an accountant can keep the books, but you want to make sure that you are using someone that is familiar with business taxes. Because that's going to look a lot different than just going with someone that is a tax professional, which is not bad, but they may not be well versed with the business taxes. And so make sure you do have someone that knows that, because that can help you with some of your tax breaks. And then you could also end up paying more in taxes than you may have to. And so that's just going to be really important. And if you have a good accountant or an accounting software and system that you use, then it's going to make it a lot easier when it gets to the end of the year and it's time to do taxes, as opposed to scrambling at the end like a lot of people do, right? I know I've been guilty of that, but just definitely, that's what part of those systems that are in place, because you're doing that monthly. And so you're ready when it comes to taxes.
I have one question on here first. If I wanted to position my company to win our first government contract within the next 90 days, what would be the most strategic first 2 to 3 steps you'd recommend?
So usually the government's looking for people who have been in business for at least 2 years. So a lot of times they're going to ask for your past performance. So if you want to win within 90 days, I would think that you would have to be really familiar with that agency, the types of proposals that they're asking for, and also research on who won before. So most contracts are what we call recompete, meaning somebody already did it before, but their contract has now ended and they're recompeting it usually every 5 years or so, depends on the organization. But you need to know what they did well. You need to know how much they charged, and there's places that you can find a lot of that information. And you have to know how their budget is going. So if you've never won a government contract before, but you have been in business for at least 2 years, usually my clients takes between 9 to 18 months to win their first contract, because there's a big learning curve for that.
Speaking of that budget, just that budget side of thing is overwhelming for someone just starting on the federal grant.
Also, the government is they're using our tax dollars, and we want them to be good stewards of those tax dollars, which means that they want the lowest price. And not all businesses are immediately able to do that, right? Like to have that cash flow to be able to afford to sell to the government right away, even if they're established, just because they're gonna want the lowest price. There are some programs specifically, contracts that are set aside for small businesses, like Chris had mentioned, and so that can help because you're not going up against a really big company who can, you know, economies of scale and their prices are really low. But getting your prices in line with what the government is looking for involves kind of that research into who won before and being able to estimate your prices accurately, because you do not want to go into a contract with the government and lose money or risk, you know, that big red line on your business name. So that's what we help with the education to get you positioned to be able to sell. I don't personally recommend jumping into it because if something goes wrong, usually you will lose money and get a big red mark on your name. We don't want that. So it's better to wait and make sure that you're positioned effectively.
If I may, just.
Yeah,
add to-
thank
on
you,
that
John.
one,
Go ahead.
No, this is the perfect sideway, again, working on the foundational. Who are your ideal customers? What are you selling? Why they are your ideal customers? And the government, doing business with the government is the whole universe. That if you truly that's the area you identify, you have a unique strength, your products are gonna be really filling a value, has a huge value to the government as a customers. Certainly pursue that, but that will probably not that will be probably 3-year or a multi-year effort. And you know, understand if truly you set your eyes on it, we talk about AI, you can use AI, truly understand the password and all of that, try to learn as much as possible, become an expert in that. Right.
It's not something that you want to do while you're trying to grow your business, but the education can be helpful. And so that's where we can help with the startups, is that education piece. But I would do all the foundational things that these experts have mentioned before, because you want them to take you seriously, right? So.
Okay, last question.
Okay, thank you. Mine's a technology related question. When I started my career in education, we didn't have computers. So I'm an entrepreneur that's over 55. I'm in the St. Louis County Library Encore Entrepreneurs Program, which is excellent. And so I've learned about technology throughout my career. So AI is new to me. And my daughter was talking to me and showing me what she was able to do with her landscaping. Mine's going to be a landscaping business with a specific niche. And so I tried it and I was simply amazed at what it could do. I uploaded a photo of this house and I told it what type of garden I wanted, and there it was, and all I had to do was, with my knowledge base and my database, go through and pick out plants that I think the client might like. But my question is this: I was using Google Gemini, but I realize there are a lot of AI platforms out there. So my question is this: and I'm meeting with a librarian tomorrow to do more about the marketing research. But my question is this: what is the best way to do the research to find out what AI can do for me and what it cannot do for me and that kind of thing?
So, go ahead, Joe. No, this is your area.
No.
While I pull up the event that I think you should come to, I'll let you chime in. We have events happening at Cortex that specifically speak on the AI and the different tools. So if you're interested in learning more about what tools are available for entrepreneurs, please come out to those workshops hosted by Pasek-STL in partnership with Cortex. We have amazing instructors like John that broke down a bunch of ways to use different AI tools, but it's a good just 1 hour session to give you a high level peek at how it can be used.
So I'd go to the Cortex website?
Yes.
Okay.
Under our events page.
For someone who has a life experience.
Yes.
There's a reason why you start this. I always go back to the very foundational. I want to work backwards, right? So the reason why you do this is you fill in the blank, and then you say, I already have a business. I'm gonna start this there's a lot of detail, but to really determine what area you need the most help. Do you need a thinking partners? You need a research partner, your chief of staff or executive assistants, or you need, so talk about those bucket: marketing, sales. You need someone, a AI agent, let's just call that, just like employees. Actually, you have to manage them just like employees, to help you with that, or you need a financial accounting, bookkeeping, projection, engine, we call it food is manual engineering. There's a lot of that stuff you ask yourself where you can get you need the most help. Is always a business plan, or is it just execution or logistics? So these three large ones, you have a Gemini, you already mentioned, and then, obviously ChatGPT, and also, the Claude, which is Anthropic, they all have a strength. They all have their actually just pick one to be really good at it. Just use it nonstop, using it nonstop. If it's Gemini, the only suggestions I said most people using Gemini are not using it for the fullest. Well, just learn how to, because clearly this is something we're all learning, everybody's learning. One thing I suggest to start using Notebook LM, which is I urge everybody to use it. That is the best research tool. Google built this on their learning. They call it the learning LLM. Will do deep research. When you need to do research in market, depending on what topic you need to research, Notebook LM really to bring your knowledge base, help you synthesize all the different things, and can do actual deep research for you in a specific topic. And that work with the Gemini. It would, if you go to Gemini, click on that plus sign, you can see if you connect to the Notebook LM. It's an incredible tool, and that turned a book. If I have 100 pages PDF report, turn that into a podcast, turn that into a just conversational, then you can listen while you're driving. You can turn that into a very, very quick slide deck with a video. Some people learn by watching, some people by learning, some people are reading, some people are very good with reading. So there's all these tools can help you facilitate, I call it fast tracking your learning, how to do this. But the tools available, I recommend.
Did you say, John, that was Notebook?
Notebook LM. Notebook LM. It's free. You should be, anybody with a Google account should be set one up. Start uploading. For me, I have too many ideas, all these ideas. I upload all my notes, paper notes, and voice recording, all the meeting, all of that, and ask to synthesize. It can help you. It's really a deep research tool. Is the best. And then if you need to learn a grant, you can put that grant into that. Or listen quickly, get you out. Yeah.
So the next event it's called the Build It AI Bootcamp. It's every first Tuesday of the month from 9:30 to 11 a.m. And the next one is going to be on April 28th. And it's going to be on digital operators using AI to run a smarter organization. So very timely with Kristen Jansson.
And as the librarian in the room, I do want to caution with AI and pulling like research data and things like that from AI is that sometimes AI hallucinates data and makes up research. So please always check your sources. AI is a tool. And it is a great tool. It has made my life easier, it makes things a lot faster, but you do have to make sure that that data is coming from somewhere that actually exists. And you're not bringing a business plan to the SBA to get this loan. And they're like, this is not correct information. Like, where would you even get these numbers? So just make sure that the data actually exists and that is real data. So make sure you're doing that extra legwork. Yes, it's faster. Yes, it's typically okay, but just make sure you're double checking.
Thank you very much. It's excellent. I have to run out.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
But yeah, so thank you everybody for coming. One last pass from the panel on anything you want to promote coming up. You just promoted your AI program.
I'm good.
I'll go January. I'm thinking way ahead, but April 20th through the 29th, we are doing a financial literacy series. We will have an opening event on Monday, the 20th. And that is a time for business owners to come in, meet some of our partners who's going to be doing the workshops from different banking institutions. So it'll be that networking. We're also going to be honoring our late boss that we lost in January. She was all about financial literacy, and she would always say one of our business owners is going to be a millionaire. And then the other cool thing is we're going to have a panel of our financial professionals that will be there. And so if you can't make all of them, I think that is a great one because you'll be able to connect with other business owners and individuals in the in the financial industry. And then throughout the week, we will have different workshops. They're all in the evening between 4 and 6. You'll have 2 offerings every evening for 5 days. And then we're going to close it out with the pitch competition, and that will be with Mary Scott here with PitchSTL. We have partnered with her, and so we are really, really excited. We have cash prizes. So definitely come on out and even just support, but I think it's a great time to network and connect with the new folks if you are new into this business ecosystem.
Well, at St. Louis Partnership Business Centers, we do not have any specific events, but I would love to make an event for you to come in and tour our facilities. How about that? You get me. But we do not put on events. We do work with our small business development counselor, Colleen, and she does have different 1-hour events and trainings that she does. So I'd be more than happy to connect you with her. Come and tour us.
For Missouri Apex, we do monthly webinars, so at least 3 every month on different things. Those are live, but we also have access to on-demand recordings. So if you go to our website, M as in Missouri, O, apex.org, you can find more information there. You can also message us on LinkedIn and I'll get you the information that way. I put everything on our LinkedIn. So anything government contracting related, let me know. I do in-person stuff in St. Louis, but not another one until like July. So lots of virtual stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Well, go online, go to Meetup, search for Micro Business Network. And that's where our focus is helping very small micro businesses to connect with the resources in the region, connect with each other, and also go through these learning together. Micro Business Network on the Meetup. And we do have ongoing incubator program and Urban Eats as a Food, like I mentioned that before, and my retail, if you're artist and retailer in trying to test learn various aspects of that, you can find us through the Micro Business Network. 2 events, maybe I highlight one. I think, Ben, you're gonna be there, is the Tech STL's STL Tech Week coming up. April 13th is a whole week long, free, all free. Just search for STL Tech Week. And on the 16th, Thursday, and Ben and I will be in the food, I know your name. I'm just putting you on the spot. Either you or Gabriel.
No, I'll be moderating, so I'll be the one asking the question of you.
I will be in that one of the panel, but it's a food at the Food Tech Summit. I will be hosting that from the seed to the distribution to food. So it will be exciting for any of you interested in the tech, and also how these ecosystems related to tech supporting each other. How do we connect it as a region? That's April 16th at the Danforth Planet Science Center. I personally involved in the safety, so I have a big shout out to for those of you who care about public safety and community safety, either using technology or other means to solve the safety problem. We have a safety summit. I'm in Dutchtown, so we call it, this is our fifth annual Dutchtown Safety Summit, Safer Dutchtown Summit, that encourage those who wants to start business related to improving safety, personal safety, public safety, and any of that. Look us up. We use a lot of technology, a lot of the innovative business model to try to facilitate changes in the safety space.
Awesome. Yeah, and then if you Google SBA St. Louis, we have a webpage. At the bottom, there's all the upcoming trainings. You know, a lot of our partners will put trainings on there. You know, Apex puts it on their SCORE, SBDC. If anybody else has any other, you know, trainings in person or virtual you want to get on there, you know, let me know. We can get that put on. And then just if your business is ever at a point where you're ready for a loan, or you're at that point, you know, don't overlook the SBA loans. They're not, you still go through a traditional lender, but they're government-backed loans that are pretty high percent, which lowers the bank's risks, which in turn gives you as the business owner and the borrower a lower interest rate. So there's a lot of different programs out there. Right now, the big push is on anything manufacturing or food processing related, grocery stores, or anything in the food processing industry, or manufacturing, you know, bringing American jobs back. Anything there's a lot of big incentives. But yeah, please reach out if you have any specific questions on the different SBA loan products that we have to talk to you.
And Mary?
Yeah, PitchSTL is partnering with NEEC for that big pitch competition on April 29th. And the Founders Lounge Global AI Summit is happening at Spark downtown on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of April. So it's a free conference. The first day is going to be how you use AI in business, some basic stuff. So that's a really good conference as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming and thanks to the people who came.
Yeah. Nice to see you all.
Bye, Mary.
My Mary.
They're building.